Good day.
What's up, fat cat?
How you doing? I love my new. I think I preferred Simon the Suit as my as my moniker. How you doing? Oh, you missed a great trip to the Vancouver Art Gallery yesterday. It's a shame you didn't come. Um, there's a new installation going on there. There's an artist who I've known for years, back from seeing an installation in 2015 at the Royal Academy in London, and they're just doing it in the Vancouver Art Gallery. It's basically a multicolored uh, covering of the stairs and the floor area. I don't know if you remember the way the gallery is set up, and it's an absolutely amazing result where you have well, it's difficult to describe. I'll send you a picture,
I'm in.
but it's cool. Oh, there you go. That's the one.
I
That's
just
it.
I was there 45 minutes ago.
Ah, well, the let me show you the version. So this,
Hey,
I don't know
Dimitri.
if you can see it. Can you? I've got
Hold
my
it by hold,
screens on.
hold it by your face. Yeah,
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, there we go.
yeah, yeah.
That is the Royal Academy 2015, the
Huh,
staircase.
huh.
Uh, and I said to Ava about 6 months ago, first time I saw that staircase, you should do this. And she said, well, it's funny you should say that. We've just started a conversation with him. Uh, cool. What did you think yesterday or today? You just been to see.
It was gorgeous. I noticed
It
that it
will
was
be.
installed, and I stopped everybody, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, look at this! I don't know what it is. It evokes Douglas Copeland, but how infrequently do you get to see the work actually being installed with all the
In,
measurers and people doing stuff?"
yeah.
So I took a bunch of photos just because, like, every time we see it after this is going to be the formal, ready for public display or whatever. And
Well,
so,
they've got a time lapse. They've got a time lapse camera up on the first floor.
yeah,
You were up on this. If you come on the second floor where you were, it's brilliant. You see the whole like an aerial. And I said to Avi, you've got to take a drone photograph
yeah,
from the top when it's done. But they've got a time lapse of the whole thing coming together.
that's amazing. It's so funny. Hey, Loki, I'm always so worried about like over communicating with people, but then I'm always surprised to hear when people like you, who I know are paying attention, don't like even know about stuff that I thought I was like spamming everybody about. So this morning,
Yeah,
BCAI hosted a creative morning session for like 200
yeah,
peeps. And
yeah.
so we all got to go hang out at the gallery this morning, man. That's so yeah, it was really fun. It was
Oh, I didn't even know that. I
yeah.
didn't even know that. That's how you were there. Oh, cool.
Yes. Sorry. Hey Loki, how's it going, mister?
It's going pretty good.
That's good. Hey
Um,
Dimitri.
just getting my head back in my seat. So after
Um,
yesterday's event,
yeah, tell
uh,
me about that. Cause I mean, I know the FAST program that Circle's involved with. And I remember you doing one a while ago, but then you said you were presenting all day yesterday. I thought maybe it might be worth a little unpacking. What were you doing?
not presenting. I facilitate. So
Sure.
four companies in front of a panel of three investor experts, but it's not pitching. Uh, we flip the script, and the investors are there to rapidly assess the company to identify flags that if they were investing, they would hesitate around. But they're doing it as a favor to the company, helping them understand how the investor sees the company.
It's like a panel of friendly
CDL.
a panel of friendly critics or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And or they're on the board, and of course they want the company to be successful in its next raise. So they're really trying to reflect back the
Yeah.
things that would make them hesitate if that were their role. And so it's a very intimate conversation. The companies are encouraged to disclose as much as possible. They're under CDA
Mm.
with us, and the investors are consultants in that role to us. So safe space. Yeah, and the dynamics coming out of it are people are remarking on it. They're saying this is really valuable, and why isn't this being more broadly applied? So we're enjoying a little bit of innovation here, which is fun.
Amazing. Amazing. It's pretty funny that so many people's automatic note takers show up even when they can't show up. I think that's pretty cute. I mean, And it's going to be a phenomenon on this call in particular because all members are invited on the calendar invite, but not all of them can make it all the time. So anyway, a couple of the duplicative ones I just bounced to the waiting room or whatever. But anyway, this is an informal drop-in session. This is the fourth one we've done. Just a chance for those of us who want to connect more to catch each other up on stuff. We have used them as a mix of just kind of like going around the room, talking about what you're up to or what's on your mind generally. But also we've been doing a mix of like guided sessions. So last week, Zaro did like half an hour Discord 101, and today Praj Wall is going to be joining us at like 12:30 to do a GitHub 101. And the premise there is like through these hackathons that we've been doing at Rival and through a couple other opportunities, we've been increasing the overall technical capabilities of our whole posse quite a bit. And to the extent that I think that we can proactively do so, I just think it's going to continue to result in higher quality hackathon submissions, us winning other people's hackathons more easily, and just an overall more technically sophisticated posse. So that's what's going on. But if any of you guys have desires for other people to talk about a topic in the future, like, I don't know, touch designer or Olama or some of these other kind of cool technologies that are very capabilities unlocking, you're welcome to put in a request. Or if you got something you want to share, if you're like, yo, I really want to break down this thing that I think has some value to the whole community, like super open to that as well. Hey, Udbav. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Chris, how are you?
What's going on out there, Dimitri?
I'm just driving to my office so I can sit down and peace of mind and listen to the GitHub, something that I wanted to wrap my head around, and I think this half-hour session is going to be perfect.
It's been a very empowering thing for me to learn for a couple of reasons. Like, one is I can share things that I build with you all, and you can, and once you stick something on Git, you never know what's going to happen. I remember the first time I stuck something I built on Git and somebody else checked it out and added a French translation to the interface and checked it back in. And all of a sudden this tool that I built was now a bilingual tool. I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So that, it just like, it speaks to the kind of whole open source, build in public kind of community spirit for development projects. So anyway, that's why I thought that was important and cool. What's on your mind, Kevin?
Nothing much, just coming to hang out and absorb the vibes.
Kevin was with about, I don't know, 10 of us this morning at the Creative Mornings at the Vancouver Art Gallery. I was going to give a little report, but why don't you do it, Kevin? If you want.
I don't think he heard that.
He did. I think he's just having a mic problem and he'll figure it out. Okay, yeah, no problem. This morning through our friend Mark Boosie, who's been running this Creative Morning. You guys have all met Mark. He's been a big part of our community. And Mark runs Creative Mornings, and he's done so for 14 years. And like one of his volunteers that helped facilitate today, she's volunteered every month for 9 years. And like, it's a really interesting, solid crew of people who have met every single month for 14 years. And they are, self-funded, highly creative, sell out all the time. They're just a really awesome crew. I always go. But Mark's been a huge advisor to me since before I even started the first meetup. So like a couple years, and friends for like more than 20. And he had a real vision for this, us being the presenting sponsor thing. He's like, yo, it usually costs $1,500. You can pay as little as you want, as low as $100. So I was like, bro, I don't think the first thing our association should spend money on is a big sponsorship. But I was like, I see what you're trying to do here. And so we gave him $200 to buy breakfast for, they have a huge surplus in their budget. So just between us on this call, he counted our $200 as a $1,500 sponsorship and made us a full partner and everything, which meant like Kevin Friel got to come up and talk for a minute. I got to say a couple things. They printed postcards with our names on it. We had a little booth there. We got to give away some shirts and and it was awesome. So what I was actually trying to say though is Mark is even maybe more passionate about this in some ways than I am. He's like, my community needs to become the AI community. He's like, every creative professional will become an AI professional. And this needs to happen. We need to, and our communities are born of the same spirit. They need to, so he just like kind of forced us to do it. And I was so excited that he did, because it really, it's before we were ready, but we represented. There was 8 of us in tie-dyed shirts out there today, and Michelle Diamond came, took photos, and Mark said some nice things. Kevin knocked it out the park. Zaro helped as usual, and Ubdav's there doing all the support and smiley friendly guy stuff. And yeah, it was a fun morning, and like kind of just, it was a mini milestone in some ways. We, became more real when we associated, then we, keep doing stuff, but to show up as a posse, have a booth, be a presenter, just kind of felt pretty cool. And it was, I briefed all the team. I was like, be prepared to be challenged here this morning, guys, because there's going to be some folks who are like, I thought all artists hate AI, blah, blah, blah. And in fact, it was very warmly received. And the way we were able to position what we're doing was like, they were hungry for what we have to offer. So I don't know. I think we'll be seeing more of those folks in our posse, and yeah. Open mic. You got any questions or anything you all want to talk about? Loki, if you want, I'd open any sort of Montreal report, but I don't want to put you on the spot. But
well, that's true. See, that feels like aeons ago already. It's been a busy week. No, that's fair. I'm happy to drop in a bit about All In. Was anybody else at All In that's here? No?
Not on this.
That's the Scale AI and Mila sponsored AI event that was in Montreal last week. It was 2 days. And the folks at Innovate BC, Invest Vancouver, Jelly Academy, and who am I missing?
AI and BC.
AI and BC kind of did the
meta organizing,
but it was driven by Innovate BC and a bunch of other sponsors that basically got 70 companies under the rubric of Team BC to Montreal, and there was a big 20 by 40 booth and a series of eight monitors, and they rotated companies out, so they were there doing presentations, demos on rotation for the couple of days. So that was really good, and there were a bunch of companies there that I know, so I appreciate seeing them there. And the vibe was good. BC was the biggest delegation. It made an impression. Minister Solomon was touring. He presented part of the plenary on the first day, but he toured all over the place. But he made a point of coming to the Team BC booth and seemed very familiar with various folks there, and so I think we showed well. It was a strong presence. There's a lot of people coming by. I saw a lot of people I know from the BC ecosystem who were there, whether it was from SFU or from Innovate or whomever, the AIBC folks. So it was good. My main goal there was a series of meetings. I think I got all of them except Accelerate Okanagan. We didn't quite connect. So mostly both BC folks or people like Evado or others that are outside of the province that support things that my company Circle does. So that was really useful. I think the big thing, and maybe some of you have already caught this, it's been going around, is Minister Solomon announced a 30-day sprint. At the time when that slide went up, he was a little ambiguous, but he was just making this noise about 30-day sprint. And it's like, what are you talking about? And what it turns out to be, as many of you have probably seen the release, is there's a task force, 29 members who have 30 days to revise the Pan-Canadian AI strategy. Good luck with that. But, Carney's gesture at government moving quickly, so looks like it's moving quickly. But the final form of it won't be out until the end of the year. That's the noise. But they'll be taking inputs through October. There is a survey if you have not seen it. So push some data in. I'm sure you have.
Well, no, I was just going to say, that's super helpful because so yeah, they announced the 30-day sprint, and then the same or a couple days later or whatever, I got wind of the 30-day consultation process. And so it's good for you to hear me. It's the first time I've heard from you that the final report actually comes by the end of this year, because I was like, how are you going to sprint and consult at the same time? But knowing that the month is the chance for probably the advisory council to connect with the different constituencies, try to hear them, bring it to the center, put some plans together. And then we got two BC people on the council. Who's the third?
Depends which one you're counting.
First Nation Council.
Diane Gutiv is probably who you're missing.
Diane Gutiv. I don't know if I know that name.
CGI Canada.
What's CGI?
CGI is a contract IT company. They've had a fair amount of involvement in BC with various large-scale projects. They tend to, I don't see them out as much in the events or in the ecosystem, but I keep coming across them. And so I'm not surprised to see CGI really involved. They've been building custom data centers for various enterprises and stuff like that. So she's based in Victoria, but it is CGI Canada. So I just sort of count her as well.
Well, that's kind of cool. That means the three people from BC are all women. There's the lady from the First Nations Tech Council, Gail from UBC. Yeah, and that's cool.
Gail Murphy, VPRI from UBC, and then yes, Diane Gutiv. That's good observation. I hadn't clicked, but yes, they're all women. So those are the ones who will be making noise about BC ostensibly. Obviously, Nadia will be making noise about First Nations and Indigenous interests, which is good, because it's starting to feel like the federal government had forgotten UNDRIP. So that's a positive. There are some others indirectly who I think are aware of what's happening in BC, and the general noise we're getting is that BC is in line somehow, whether it's the infrastructure projects or whatever comes out of this strategy, and that the focus is commercialization, applied AI. So I think BC's made the most noise about that. In fact, at the booth, it said excellence in applied AI. So it was like our tagline that was thrown out there. So that's a big positive. I think some good things are going to come out of this as far as what's happening in BC. I think we need to be ready for that. And yes, we need to push our consult into those surveys. Cool. You have the link to that survey, I assume?
Not off the tips of my fingers, but I'll drop it on the chat. That'd be useful. That would be super useful. Cool.
But otherwise, it was a good event. It was brisk. It reminded me quite a lot of Web Summit, except of course, well, no, it reminded me a lot of Web Summit, and everybody's doing AI, but there was a lot of really focused AI stuff. So
6,000 people, I heard.
6,000 was the count. So it felt pretty substantial, to say the least. And it was great to be back in Montreal. I used to live there. Saint-Tropol, one of my favorite backyard restaurants, kind of like a nom in Montreal. Loved that. Hung out with David Monty. He was there. So yeah, it was a good time.
I love it. Thank you very much. Any questions for Loki? What's up, Joe? What's up, Rob? We're just kind of catching each other up on stuff. I talked about the BCAI event at the VAG that we helped sponsor this morning, and then Loki just gave a report from All In Montreal. How are you showing up today, Joe?
I'm doing great, Chris.
Nice, man.
I'm honestly, these days I'm doing great every day. Coming back from that retreat, I've been into personal growth for a couple of years now, coming out of the military.
You're still vibrating pretty high from your experience down in Arizona.
Not Arizona. I don't know who went to Arizona. That's all good. It's all good. I was in Tenerife.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm doing great. And I don't remember who dropped it in, but there was a web page where you vibe code apps. I got to try that out later.
Yeah.
I just filled out the survey, and I had an idea in the survey, the single thing we should try to direct the community to, and well, I'll just see if I can build an app for it, and then we can test it as a group. And
I think that's a great idea. What better thing? I mean, the coolest thing about vibe coding, I find actually, is that what you think you want to build, isn't really what you want to build. And by building it and fucking with it and pushing the buttons and going through the flows, you're like, oh, this is what I actually need to build. So I actually think the coolest thing about vibe coding is like rapid prototyping such that I can develop my ideas more. And by the time I actually get some other people to help me with it, I'm actually asking them for what I want and not spinning a whole cycle or 5 of revisions with the people involved or whatever. So that's how I've been using it. I dropped Lovable on the chat. I'm not sure if that was the one you were talking about, but a lot of people like that one. And it's a really
Lovable. I'm sure. It's crazy. There's so many things being built. It's impossible. We need a community to keep track of everything. But it wasn't Lovable. It was something 44. I think Misha dropped it in the chat. Yeah. Is Lovable the same thing? You just regular language it and it builds stuff for you?
Yeah, dude, it's bonkers.
Cool. I'll try them both.
Bonkers. For anyone who hasn't run one prompt through it, you should. You get like 10 a day for free, and the power of it is off the charts.
Awesome.
The charts. And it just unlocks a whole level of technical potential capabilities that for me were outside my grasp before. Like just even watching it code, having to learn the few things around the periphery to get the shit working. It's just drug me at the most fast pace in my whole life towards unlocking the technical things that had eluded me previously. What's up, Rob?
Things are rocking right along, Chris. Things are moving. I'm having a lot of fun. I'm working on a cool project at the Independent Media Center for FIFA World Cup at Granville Island using Vancouver Fish Company.
Bro.
And these are 300 citizen journalists using their phone and using AI to get the stories about FIFA and not so much about the games, but about the citizen journalists used around the world. And so I did a presentation to Destination BC and Destination Vancouver. They're tripping over themselves because nobody has submitted anything quite like it. And we're taking over the whole restaurant and a theater next door. And we're going to use that for independent journalism from around the world. So, and I know that's in your wheelhouse.
I didn't know you knew, but that's amazing. I fully support you personally. BCA, love to be involved. I have built already independent media tracker using Lovable.
Holy shit!
To track independent media at FIFA next year and at LA 2028. I would just took a crack at it one day. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, man. Oh, there's a lot of synergy here. So to bring everyone else up to speed, I played this really interesting role during the 2010 Olympics, and this will not surprise Loki at all. I was the most outsider person of the whole situation. I both worked for VANOC, the organizing committee, and was helping organize the protests against the Olympics. So as a part of that, I built what was called the True North Media House, which was a 1,000 person self-accrediting independent media center for bloggers and citizen journalists in the building across from W2 on Hastings there or whatever. We took over a 4-story building and it was incredible. I've also done that 2 other times. I did one at COP15 where I ended up getting arrested in the protests, protesting the United Nations climate change movement. And then the third one was that was called the Fresh Air Media Center. It was paid for by 350.org and all the kind of big environmental orgs with a woman called Zipporah Berman, who's a kind of famous anti-oil and gas activist lady. And then the third one that I did, I got to photograph Barack Obama and Bill Clinton at this one. We built an independent media center called The People. We self-accredited 750 citizen journalists and bloggers at the 2008 Democratic National Convention in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I've done like 3 all over the world, and they're so impactful, man. It's crazy, guys. It's a lot like the spirit of BCAI in some ways. It's like when 100 of you buy a membership and wear a badge that says you're a part of something, all of a sudden the badge becomes meaningful by the fact that there's 100 other passionate, impactful people wearing it. And if it can be 1,000 people, your power grows again, right? And so by outsiders or independents coming together in the way that we have and in the way that Rob's talking about in these old independent media centers and stuff, you can become way more than the sum of your parts and have a strong, strong gravitational center that brings all sorts. You essentially legitimize yourself through collaboration and declaration and contribution, type things.
Oh my God, Chris,
Yeah.
this is unfrickin' believable. Holy shit. Because George Moen, who owned Blend's Coffee at the time, he had his own independent media and a center using Metro News. They had a partnership with Metro News. All his writers had press badges in, and they weren't even accredited media. They were allowed in every freaking event
Yeah.
because they had press badges on. Nobody checked to see if they were accredited or.
Well,
So
they
we're-
checked the first time and the second time, and by the fifth time, another guy comes around wearing it. They're like, "Oh, we've seen that a bunch of times. You guys are here," and it's like, it's very fascinating. It's definitely the ask nobody for permission, show up, form your posse,
Wow.
and you got to put your good foot forward. That's the thing. You got to give more than you take in order for these scenarios to work and stuff like that. Otherwise, they collapse and whatever. But
well, we're talking, Chris, about 2010, and now we add AI to this, and we've teamed up with a guy named Hugh Dobby. I don't know if you knew Hugh. He owns a streaming company. He sold his first streaming company to Disney for umpteen million. He's from Langley, and now we've teamed up with him to stream everything we're doing through his system.
Well,
you and I and the team got to have a lunch at Vancouver at the Vancouver Fish Company next week if you're available.
That sounds great. I'm totally in. Like I said, I'm aligned personally. If you want the support of the org, I'd love to do that too. And if there's from janitor to advisory board member, if there's a role for me, I'd be happy to help.
Awesome. Okay, I'll set that up, Chris.
Yep. Welcome, Yemi. Welcome, Michelle.
Yeah, this is crazy. You guys talking about the kind of stuff. Like, I literally found this group, I don't know, 6-8 weeks ago at this point, but I've been thinking about these kinds of things for years, and it's clear that tons and tons of people are all over the place. So as soon as we can get one network where things are starting to collaborate across the little collaborations, shit's going to explode. Because what I want a vibe code is basically kind of what you guys are talking about, but not a journalism side of things, because I'm not a journalism guy. It's basically just, I started calling it the wishing well, and it was literally just, okay, what happens if I make a forum online where people literally just say, hey, I'd like this to happen in my community, and then we have an AI in the back end that with some human vetting that does like, okay, what's the priorities of the people? Let's fucking democratize this. We can run ourselves. That's how it works. That's what I want to do. And I want you guys to help.
Right on.
That's so interesting too. If you could connect some basic bot infrastructure, the voted up wishes that got voted up the wishing well, you could actually like deploy and deliver people's wishes with like AI.
No, I am fully serious. Okay.
Yeah.
Like we can replace Uber and Lyft. We can replace DoorDash. We can fucking make it non-for-profit and just community run. We can do all that with infrastructure that we own ourselves. And the data sovereignty is already, we can build it.
Even the not-for-profit thing is a great idea in some ways, but it can be for profit as long as it's not extractive, go to Silicon Valley profit. If it's profit,
exactly.
British Columbia, that's a lot different.
Profit for the community.
To San Francisco or something like that.
I mean, profit, not for profit, right? Because like my conceptualization of the functional not for profit is everyone who needs to get paid to live and in the fair contribution that they're giving will get paid, but that's not profit per se, right? Because profit is like, okay, what is on top of all that shit? So I'm talking about getting rid of the extractive on top of shit.
Out by the investors or whatever.
Yes, exactly. So I want everybody to be the customer and the owner and the operator all at the same time. That's what I want.
Well, all I can say is the vibe coding journey is a very empowering one. So enjoy yourself, sir.
Sick. And as soon as I have something, I'd love to try it on a stage, because I think the decision, like the instant capacity for decision making that is actually meaningful for the whole group is going to be powerful.
Yo, Yemi, how you showing up today, friend?
Hey, hello everybody. Yeah, how am I showing up? I didn't go to bed till 4 a.m. or probably 5. I had a meeting, set at the UK time about the DPP.
Oh, that's right. You're in London for your show.
Not yet. I am still here.
All right.
But I still work the hours from the UK and here anyways. Just talking about the DPP DPP passport thingy that seems to be the big thing for the EU, and we've been able to get some Scottish government grants or them to commit to helping SMEs to start to deploy at small scale with solution providers. And what else? I have not meditated today, but I was like, I have to come and just pop in and just say hello. And I still have my AI Week UK thing coming up. I just sorted that out just this morning. There were a few things that were not yet sorted, and I'll share that with you guys. But it's going to be happening very early Vancouver time. So
I was going to say, if you got some links about your work or the shows that you're doing, feel free to share them on any of our channels where they're relevant, members or Brain Trust, anything, because like people got a lot of love for you, but not everyone's seen exactly what you're up to. So we'd love to like follow along your journey and stuff. Simon, you got any UK trips planned in the short term?
Yes, I head over to Scotland on the 16th of October, then London on the 18th, and then possibly back to Scotland and then back to Lagos because I have another show. Yeah.
I was actually throwing to Simon for a sec because he's there like every week right now. Are you going to London anytime soon?
Just come back last week. I'm here for 2 weeks. I'll be back there on the 13th, I think it is, that week. You're in Scotland then?
I'll be in Scotland on the 16th, but I will definitely be in London on the 18th.
And that's when your opening is?
The event is in London, yes. The exhibition will be in London.
Okay, tell me, send me something. Send me some more.
Because, I know you'll be scared when you see it and be like, oh, can I measure up to the fashion? But don't worry.
I know the answer. I know the answer to that. That's an easy question. No. But I'll see.
I'd be tickled if Simon got to come to your exhibition and send us some pictures from London. That would be.
That's got to be done. That's got to be done. Okay.
Awesome.
Hey, Michelle, how you showing up today, Mr. Michelle?
Hello.
Nice.
Hello. Where are we?
Got you there.
I'm here. Hang on.
Oh, you're in a loud cafe again. You don't want to talk.
Can you guys hear me? Or?
No, it's terrible.
Terrible.
Man, that sucks. Oh, I'm sorry, man.
We'll get you some headphones with a microphone. I got us.
They didn't charge up. They didn't charge up right for whatever reason. I'm sitting here and they died.
Mine are in the seat in front of me in an airplane somewhere flying halfway across the world. I need to go shopping.
Yeah, okay, it's my money.
Mr. Pixel Wizard, thanks for coming to the art gallery this morning, sir. How you doing?
Oh, good. That was a blast. Thank you for shoving me in front of a bunch of new people once again. So that was a real hoot. And I shared my experience on LinkedIn. So if you all want to elevate that would be amazing. Plus the clip that Chris shot of it. It's a community I've wanted to integrate with for years and years and years, and never. I thought in 1,000 years that it would be like, oh, you're talking at it. So that was really beautiful. It was a really fun and turned on community, and I was happy to represent our merry band there along with everyone else. It was awesome.
You what did you say? What did you get up to? Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, so the whole theme of the day was around softness and community in softness as well, and that's treating yourself and others kindly through your creative journey, whether that's more personal or more professional, and following up on that theme, it was really recognizing that there's a well-knit community there. There's a well-knit community amongst us, of course, and just making that bridge and saying like, I know AI is weird. It totally is, even for those of us in it. Swimming in it in the very deep waters, it's super weird. But what is almost antithetical to the movement when you hear about it on first glance is like I've encountered way more humanity than any other movement through this technological means. So and the water's fine when everybody else swimming in it is jamming on that same humanitarian vibe. So I hope that hit the mark in what I was trying to present, and there was way less resistance than I thought there was going to be. It was really open, honestly.
I briefed the whole crew. I was like, yo, we're walking into a room of artists, and there might be some people that decide to call us out that this is their safe space away from AI or something. And all of a sudden they're not sure why. Some guy called out Space Center this week. He's like, what the fuck is Space Center doing pushing AI slop or whatever, right? And then the very next post after that was like Science World having an AI conference next week or whatever. So I was like quite clearly, like, I didn't even engage with the guy. I was like, I invited him to the event. I'm like, oh, come ask that question with some other people at our next meetup or whatever, you know. But like, I was
awesome.
You dingleberry, like it's science in so many different ways. Like, pretty funny.
Yeah. So it was a really cool experience, and yeah, coming into it, I was preparing myself for someone to stand up and be like, "Yo, come on," and it didn't happen. It really didn't happen.
You broke graphic design.
Yeah.
Welcome, Praj. I'm gonna throw to you here in just a minute. You're just out of class, I think, at Langara, right? And just tuning in probably from a quiet place on campus.
Yeah, of course.
Nice, welcome. Udbav, how you showing up today, sir?
I'm doing well. Enjoyed the Creative Mornings. Can you hear me? Yeah, enjoyed the Creative Mornings meetup today. Quite an inspiring story from the speakers, and it's a place like I'm loving the confluence of creativity and AI. That meetups have always had, but like today it was a new perspective to it. So yeah. So I'm there. Yeah.
Udbav's just finishing up like the first month of working with me, but for my business partner, Peter at the upgrade.ai. So he's been supporting a lot of the classes we're doing in the backgrounds. He's been living in my Notion, building all sorts of automation and class course infrastructure for our, going on 6 different programs now and stuff. So anyway, it's been a pleasure having you around in that way, Udbav. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else got anything they want to kind of throw into open mic before we throw to Praj for a little GitHub 101?
It's just one thing, Chris, on the Vancouver Art Gallery and that sort of stuff. How do you want to develop that relationship? The chief exec happens to be a friend of mine.
I don't know. Let's put our heads together over lunch at the art gallery.
Yeah. Okay. I use the art gallery, you guys, Wednesdays. I'm in residence. I use the art gallery to get me out of my office underground and see what people look like from the side. So there's a kind of general invitation. If you've got some time on a Wednesday, I'm almost always there.
It took me a second. Are you talking Suresh Rao?
No, Ava. Ava and Suresh are the twin chief execs now, and we've got access to both of them. But Ava, I happen to know particularly well.
Here's everything I know, and you're welcome to work the relationship from here. When we left my studio and went to the Space Center, we were also in talks with Suresh about the potential of doing the Vancouver AI meetups at the Vancouver Art Gallery through Mark Booth.
Well, in the courts.
Yeah. So Mark's doing his creative mornings there, and he's friends with Suresh. And so Suresh was hearing us about the potentiality of, but frankly, they got fish to fry because of the whole fucking conundrum around the location and the budgets. And so I think there's a lot of opportunity for us to do our creative AI thing there, but you just let us know how you want us to show. Yeah. You work that channel for us.
Yeah, got it. I'll sort that out. Yeah, that's all.
Nice. Thank you. Okay. So, hey, Praj, has Zaro talked to you about becoming a mod on our Discord?
No, not yet.
Well, I'm not putting you on the spot. You can get back to me whenever you want, but just so you know, like me and Zara, who are currently the mods on our Discord, really have been appreciating your involvement and have a ton to learn from you about all sorts of things, but GitHub not the least amongst them. But I was thinking if you're up for it, and like I said, you can get back to me another time, but we'd love to invite you on as like the 3rd mod of the Discord. I think it'd be super valuable to just have you around doing what you're already doing, participating and leading people towards the good stuff. So I just want to say we really value your presence. Thanks for making some time after school and take us on a little journey.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Hello, everyone. If you don't know me, my name is Praj. I've been involved with the Vancouver AI Community Meetup since April 2024. It's like since near the start. And I'm actually turning 18 next week, exactly. Um, by a raise of hands, how many people are familiar with GitHub or have used GitHub before? Okay. Uh, like many of you, actually. Today, what I'll be going through is how you can like think about like using Git and GitHub, and also walk you through like forking the dataset repository. And then the one thing that you'll get away from this is that you will be able to fork the repository, like, and then you can make your own changes. And then the final thing that we're gonna do is um, actually commit and push to the repository, and I'll show you how it all works. So first thing, can I share my screen?
Yes, please.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So for people who aren't familiar with GitHub, you can think of github.com as like a hub for all sorts of coding related projects, mostly open source projects. And it's kind of like a Google Drive or some sort of cloud, but for programmers. And you can create an account for free. Anyone can create an account for free and like create repositories for their account for free as well. And repositories are essentially like the code for your projects. Like they consist of like files and folders and stuff. For example, I can show you as an example. This is my repository for my website. You can see how it looks like. It'll show like you can add like a description, and it just shows you the different folders that are in there, which you can click on. So if I click on it, it shows more folders and different files. Like you can click on it. And
What file do you always click on first when you get to a new GitHub?
yeah, so when you go to a new repository, or like when you go to any repository, when you scroll down from the files, like the README file, it's called readme.md. It's always like open for you already. So README, it's always in uppercase, and it always usually has a extension .md. It's like a markdown file. Like nowadays, like lots of people are using Markdown because that's what large language models are trained on. Markdown is simply like a format of how you can style your text.
And that
So if
is
I,
like a guide to the whole repository or something?
yeah, they're usually like a guide. So usually like whoever is like building like a project, they can create a README file so that people can read about the project, and you can like add descriptions about it. You can put links, you can put headings, you can bold things, you can put like different like code blocks,
Oh, wow. So
as well
there,
as
show that project structure there. So right there at the README level, it's like, yo, here's all the folders and what's in the folders, and then it says like hashtag what this is on the project. So this is how you would orient yourself, or in this day and age, an LLM to the project. You could feed it the README file, and it would know everything about the project, how it's structured, what it does, and how everything works together.
yeah. And just to show you what it really looks like as like how you would write it, this is what it would look like with like headings with hashtags and like hyperlinks or like this format. And you would bold it. Like it's kind of like how you would write like a Discord message, for example, with like formatting. And if you click the preview button, that's where it shows. So that's a little bit about like what a repository is. And now I'll show you how you can create your own first as like a demo repository. So when you're in the homepage, just github.com, you see like there's like a feed in the middle, there's like some stuff on the right and some stuff on the left. On the left, you can see this new button. That is what you click on if you want to build a new repository on GitHub. And so this is your account name, and then you can name it whatever you want. I'll just name it, say, AI demo or something like that. You can put a description. It's optional, but if you're just starting out, I usually don't put it. And then usually you can also start with a template, like people can create templates and you can use them. but usually I don't as well. But the things that I add on there is a README. So it comes with the README, so then I can modify it, as well as git ignore. So let's say I'm working on a Python project, and I can create a Python git ignore. And what this file really does is it tells you it tells Git or GitHub to not publish online the sensitive code that you write. Like let's say API tokens or different configurations that you don't want to post online. So you can configure that. I can leave that blank for now. Or yeah, no git ignore. And then a license. So usually most open source projects are either MIT license, Apache license, or GNU licenses. So the MIT license is the most common. That's anyone can use your code or modify your code as long as they also include this license. That's basically what it means. You can also just choose not to put it. You can put it later as well. And then, so I just have the repository name and the README clicked. And visibility as well. So usually the default is public. And you just click create repository. And then what it does is it'll create a project on your account. And this is what it will look like. And the things that you can do here, so you can look at the files, of course, and this is like a preview of the README. You can also start a repository. It's kind of like you want to like your repository, that kind of thing. And then you can pin it on your profile to see so then when others see it, they see this one and stuff like that. And then forking, I'll go over that later. But essentially this is what you would see. And different ways to contribute to the repository, I'll show that after I go through the rest of it as well. So usually what I use a tool called Git Bash to download the repository onto my computer. So I can copy paste this link in the chat. So this is essentially a software. Git is a file management software essentially for programming, and it is what GitHub really uses. GitHub is essentially like a cloud for this kind of software. It's like a project management software, and you can download it for all these different platforms. And it's essentially like a command line interface that you can use. And there's also a cheat sheet that you can use for if you want to familiarize yourself with commands that you can use with it. But I'll only be showing you one command that I really use. One more thing, there's also this guide that I looked at, and it's pretty good for installing it if you want to look over it. Essentially, it shows you step-by-step installation and what options you should click. And what you should do is, now that you've created this repository, and once you have Git installed, what you can do is you can go to the code tab, the code button, and then there's this URL over here. What you can do is you can copy this URL, and then what I can do is, let's say I'm in this directory, I can right-click over here, and then show more options, and then there's an option to open Git Bash here, and then it opens Git Bash. If you don't want to do it this way, you can also just open Git Bash as well. Just open it, and then what you would have to do is you would have to manually move yourself to the directory that you want to go to. And in order to find out how you would need to do this kind of stuff, there's also another cheat sheet that I can send as well. But essentially nowadays, if you just ask AI to do it, it can do it really well if you just give it some information about what you're doing. But if you just want a reference for the different commands that you can use, and if you want to get fast at it, I recommend those. So now that you have this open, and then you also have this repository, right? What you can do is, when you type, oh yeah, let me copy the link again. When you type git space and then clone, and then you insert in the URL. To insert it, you do shift insert, and then you run this command. What it does is it clones your repository onto your computer. Essentially, what it does is it downloads it. But what it also does is it also downloads the specific configuration files that Git itself uses. So if I go over to my projects, I scroll down, I see that AI demo was downloaded, and that's the same repository name. And when I double click onto there, you can see that it has a README, which said should include. And it also has this .git folder. So this is a hidden folder. You can like show it if you wanted to, but essentially what it contains is like, you don't need to know anything about it, but if you want to have a GitHub repository, you need this .git folder to be there. And my preferred editor of choice is VS Code, and I'll show you how you can use it. And it's like, it also has integrated GitHub support as well, which I find is very, very useful. So you can just open the file. So I'll just go back to the file over there. So AI demo, and just open it as a, oh no, not open file. I mean, open folder. So you can just navigate to your folder and you can select your folder and it'll open it in VS Code for you. And what you can do is on the left, there's a button over here, the third button. That is a source control button. And if that project that you downloaded or whatever project you're working on is a GitHub or like a Git project, if it has like, let's say like the .git folder, then it recognizes that it is a Git repository. And so it shows you this kind of view. And what's neat about it is, let's say I go over to this repository, like this README file, and let's say I modify it. Let's say I put in my name, let's say made by, something like that, something simple. And let's say I save it. You see how it shows these green lines? Those are like additions, like code additions that you've done, like changes that you've done to this file. And it also shows you M, that means it's modified. And if I go over here to the source control, it shows that there's a change here. And if you're curious, you can click on it and it shows exactly what was changed. This much was added. Green means added, red means subtracted. And what you can do is, if you want to, like, let's say upload to the cloud version, like the GitHub version, if you want to sync whatever changes you've made on your computer onto there, you click on whatever files that you've changed. You can also click the plus button to stage all of them. And then you just write a little message. Let's say I added my name or something like that. And then what you can do is commit. What commit does is kind of like say, like it just modifies the Git repository that, like locally, that you have committed these changes, set them aside.
Mr. Praj,
And then,
Mr. Prajwal.
oh yes, yes, Chris.
Oh, I just wanted to say you're doing a great.
Oh, hello, Chris.
I'm getting laggy all of a sudden, but I wanted to say you're doing a great. But I wanted to flag that you have about 8 minutes left, and so just wanted to make sure you use that however you want, but 8 minutes approximately.
Okay. Thank you. So after committing, you just sync changes, and what it does is it just pushes all of your committed changes to GitHub. And when I go over here and I reload, this pops up over here. And then you can see, like, if you click on, let's say, the commits that I've made, and you click on whatever commit, you can see the changes that have been made on GitHub as well. And then that's essentially how you can use GitHub and VS Code together. And then I'll show you how you can use the dataset repository. So this is the dataset repository. I'll just send the link in the chat as well. This is from Chris, and in here is the raw data. And I think the easiest way to start this, if you want to start the hackathon project, is to create a fork of this repository. What creating a fork does is essentially it just copies it onto your profile. And what's useful about creating a fork is not only does it copy the contents of it, it's also linked to this like repository. It says forked from this repository. And let's say you're working on some sort of project, like open source project, and you want to contribute. The process would be you would fork that project, you would make your changes, you would push your changes, and then you can create a pull request, a PR, like to essentially like contribute your changes to the main repository. That's how you would essentially do it. But once you have forked it, you can copy this link, or you can also copy from here. And then same thing as before, you can just git clone this repository link. Oh, so in git bash, you can't do Control V, you have to do Shift Insert. But once you do that, you can just open it up from VS Code. You just do File, Open Folder. And then I think it is this folder, I think. Or is it the fourth one? Yeah, it's the fourth one. And you just select folder. And then you'll open it up on VS Code for you. And you can see that all the files are there. So the data set's in here. And oh, my VS Code is still loading. But if you go through the files, it's all there. And then if I go over in here and then also check in the file explorer, it's also all here, but it also has .git, the hidden file. If you just download the zip, you wouldn't really have this. You would have to initialize your repository on your own and stuff like that, and it won't be linked to Chris's repository. So if you fork it, you would just get this automatically. And if you go to the source control button, the third button, you can see that over here, these are commits like made previously by Chris. You can see them, like what Chris has done. And let's say I modify something. Let's say I'll just delete all the stuff in the README, and then let's say I want to put my own stuff. I'll just put, let's say, Praj hackathon project. And what will happen is it'll show that it's modified, and you can see like the highlight. And if you go to the source control and then like click on it, it'll show you what things you've changed. So I've deleted all this, and I added this. And you can stage this change, and you can also commit to this. And what, let's say I just say, I'll just put a message, then commit and sync changes. And then what it'll do is it'll update your repository, the one that you forked. It won't change Chris's own repository, it'll only update yours. And you can see that it's over here, it's updated, and the README is updated. And also it says that it's one commit ahead of Chris's repository. And then let's say if Chris's repository was like a project that people can contribute to, I could just press the contribute button to create like a pull request. But you wouldn't need to do this for this hackathon project. I don't think the repository is put together like that. But you can see like you can create like a pull request where like essentially requesting the creator of the repository or like the maintainers of the repository to include your changes. And that's how you would do it. But if I go back here, you can see that it's there. And then if I check over here, it shows when the files were changed. Like 1 minute ago, the README was changed with this commit. And if I go over to the file, and I can also see the history, like when it was changed, by who, and all that for each file, as well as for the entire repository as well. And once you're done with the repository, and you can also edit your about as well from the settings about the repository, all you need to do to share it is just copy the link. As long as it's like public, you can just copy the link and share it to people, and other people can view it. And yeah, that's basically how you use GitHub and VS Code together, and also Git command line.
Do you want to try to put your change to my repository, and then I'll decline it since it will mess us up?
Okay, sure.
Because this is the important part, the pull request. Doing.
Example pull request. I'll just put that.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also add a description here. And then I create pull request. And then if I see here, so in Chris's repository, if someone views Chris's repository, it says there's a pull request available. And you can click on to there, and you can see that the first pull request is mine. And it shows like, I didn't put a description, but my name's on there. I mean, the name of the title that I put. And the commits that I've made, like the changes that I've made through the forked repository, and then the files that have been changed as well. And then the maintainer of the repository can essentially, they show like a different option here, but they can merge a pull request. And what that does is it adds your commits to the original repository, but they can also reject it or close it.
And is that how I actually reject it? Is just to close it before pressing the merge button, or do I have?
Yeah, you don't have to press the merge button if you don't want to merge it.
Great.
You can just press the.
I want to close it, so I'm going to try to do that. Great. It's closed. Awesome.
Yeah. So if I reload it, it's just closed.
So what Praj just demonstrated is the most powerful thing in some ways, because you can go to any of your favorite open source apps. You can look at things they need. You can grab their code, change it, and you can push it back. And if they like it, they can accept it. And now you're a contributor to your favorite open source project or whatever. Like, this is literally how you contribute to collaborative things like what we're doing with hackathons or big open source stuff.
And I'll quickly share you an example repository of like people who have been contributing. So there's this company called Ami who makes like AI physical like hardware, and it's like all open source. And you see like there's like this huge repository, but what issues are is essentially like different tasks that people can implement. And like you can put like, let's say if you have like a bug, or if you want to implement like a feature request, or like request for a feature or something like that.
I liked the one you had your cursor on, because it was like, yo, get rid of this ugly thing and make this other thing shiny or whatever. And that's like what some user wants. And then some developer can go make the thing shiny and get rid of the ugly circle and check the code back in. And
yeah, so someone made like this issue, and then people can look at it. So for example, let's say I'll go to one which has some conversations,
Praj,
or like a pull request requested.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I want to give 1 minute for questions before we have to wrap. And because this is people's lunch hour, I like to wrap right on time. So questions, open mic for Prajwal. It's okay if there are none. We still have people here. That's a good sign.
I'll just echo my thank you that I put in text. I literally have to get deeper into Git today for my film AI startups needs. So this is wildly timely and super helpful. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for this opportunity, Chris.
Yeah, man. No, totally, dude. And we recorded this. We'll probably share it with the community as well. And I think that just in general, continuing to try to help people figure out how to do it, why they would want to, like even Joe's thing, like let's say he makes something on Lovable and it's cool. Joe, you can download that code. Actually, you don't even have to download it. You can just connect right to your Git from Lovable and push whatever you're making in Lovable, your new wishing well tool, into Git. And then me and Praj can come tinker with you, etc. So it's like a very powerful tool in anyone's belt who's messing around in the AI world.
Yeah, no, I also really appreciate this, because like my usage of Git has been janky at best and trying to self-teach everything, and I'm super nervous about clicking on people's stuff, and so this has been super helpful. Thank you very much.
I might have time really, really quick, even though I said we're going to end on time, we will. This BC ecosystem, AI ecosystem map, a lot of this isn't even code, actually. I wrote some agents that do some research and put stuff into my Notion using MCP. And then they do research and they stick it over here into like markdown files. So this is like me just not even writing code exactly, but using agents to do research and then store them in markdown files so I can share them with the whole ecosystem or whatever. So even if you're not a coder, you just want to use AI to do research and build cool shit and then share it with the world, this is a great way to do it. Okay. I see you guys on Discord and WhatsApp. Thanks so much for showing up, be a part of all this. Yemi, have a safe trip.
Thank you.
So enjoy your newfound geekery. Rob, can't wait to connect with you about independent media centers. KK and over and out.